Hi everyone, Patrick here, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about string pulling because we've just had a new paper come out in Scientific Reports. This is actually a really exciting moment for me personally because it's the first paper since I joined the lab to come out that has my name on it as an author. So I thought today would be a really good time to sit down and unpack the paper a bit and talk a bit about what went into putting it together. So many birds are able to complete a string pulling task where they need to pull food up that's hanging down on the end of a string. But we wanted to understand a little bit more about how they're solving this task. Do they have some sort of insight before they start interacting with the string? Are they planning out their actions to solve the reward? Or is there some sort of feedback loop where they'll start interacting and what they do happens to move the reward closer to them, so they'll keep doing that? We're actually quite lucky with our population of kea because they don't have any previous experience with string pulling, they're naive to it. So we presented them with a version of the string pulling task laid out horizontally with a meandering string. And the idea is we presented two separate strings, one which was connected and one which had a disconnect partway along. So before we started this experiment, we provided them a few other choice tasks that didn't involve strings on this same apparatus, and we found that they performed above chance in all of those. And so we know they are capable of observing the options and making a choice on this platform. And so if they understood what was happening with the strings, they should still be able to solve this task without any problem. They can see that there is a reward on the end of the string and they should be able to pull it out. But if there's some other explanation at play, then they might not be able to succeed so easily. They don't get any immediate visual feedback for their first pull. The token stays in the same place. And so that never gets reinforced and they might end up choosing at random. And indeed, that's what we saw from all of our birds across their first 20 trials with our horizontal setup. And so to follow this up, to make sure our birds don't just perform badly at string pulling tasks, we gave them a more traditional vertical task. And in this, we found that all except two of them were able to retrieve the hanging token first try within the first 3 minutes. And as soon as they figured it out, they moved pretty much to ceiling performance on their next trial. The two birds that didn't succeed on their first trial of this second experiment, one of them was actually Bruce/Katie, who tried his best, but unfortunately with his beak, he just wasn't physically capable of pulling the string up, so it's not really any fault of his own. And the other bird was Loki, who just solved it very quickly at the start of his second trial. He just didn't quite get it in time for the first trial. And so really their performance is pretty typical. It doesn't seem that their failure in the first task was anything to do with our guys finding string pulling particularly challenging for some reason. So we'd already found evidence against the insight and planning arguments with the first experiment, but we did see an interesting pattern in previous literature that all of the birds that had passed some sort of connectivity task had previously had string pulling experience with a vertical feedback loop string pulling task. And so we wanted to present the task from experiment 1 to our birds again to see whether now that they had that feedback loop experience, will they start attending to the physical properties of the strings such as their connectivity. And so when they did this task again, we found that there wasn't really any change in performance. They still chose at random between the sides, between the connected and disconnected strings. We did see that more often they went on to retrieve whatever choice they made. So they did get better at pulling strings out, but they still weren't attending to the connectivity and what was on the other end of it. So I'll leave it there for now. If you would like to read the full paper, it's available over at Scientific Reports, and I will leave a link in the description below. Please also feel free to leave any comments or questions you have about the paper, and I will see you all for the next video very soon. Thank you very much, and bye!